The following is an excerpt from my planned new book about my life growing up in the North Shore of New Brunswick in the 1970s and 80s, called Home Plate Was a Telephone Pole. Now, this short essay will talk about a recreational activity that everyone in the community of Gravel Hill enjoyed. And I hope you enjoy. Gravel Hill's Road Hockey League of the 1970s and 80s thrilled us all. Growing up an only child in Gravel Hill a half century ago had many challenges for me, but the main one was not having a sibling line mate to take my part in the unofficial Gravel Hill Road Hockey League, or as we call it, the GHRHL of the 1970s and 1980s. At its height, our community's youth population numbered 3,000 great athletes from the ages of 6 to 18, often taking time in all winter weather, but mostly freezing wind chills and driving snow, to try their hand at pickup games involving an orange Cooper hockey ball that often bled in minus 20 temperatures and stung like a bee when you made a save in net. Games were often on the Main Street's key area near our Canada Post boxes by Leonard Lapointe's seniors' home. Nets were traditionally 6 feet wide and 200 feet apart, but imaginary, as only piles of snow determined the posts and depth, as we did not use mesh nets to determine goal size. Rough but fair play was determined by a game of 3 or 5 aside, played in all weather on the bluish freezing rain-created ice that slipped under our feet under our chip seal road. Hitting hard was not allowed, nor were slap shots within 10 feet of the goalie, which often led to games that lasted for hours until one team either hit 10 counters or the children had to go back inside because of the colder weather in the dark evening hours. We were rarely played by streetlight, as we only had one lone NB Power rented light in the winter. This light was often enough for us to determine what was up the road or down the road, but nothing else that would help our Guy Lafleur-style rushes or Kenny Dryden saves. As was the tradition by the early 1980s, 2 games would be held on good road hockey days. One for the younger set, held up the road, who were mostly of Johnny Corey's large extended family, and the other down the road for the older ones near Leonard's for the 13 to 18 set, complete with adults on the sidelines cheering on the heroes of the GHRHL. After each contest of undetermined length, these stars retreated to their nearby homes to lick their wounds, take off their boots, and dry their jackets near wood fires, while re-repairing their sticks with the cheap hockey tape we all bought at Louis Lapointe store in Ash Creek to get us ready for the next challenge to our skills and our love for Canada's game. We never made the NHL in our older years, but we made the show in our own minds by celebrating hockey in our own way. It was all about community and the love we had for each other. Again, this is an excerpt from my upcoming book on my life growing up in Gravel Hill in the 1970s and 80s, called Home Plate Was a Telephone Pole. The podcasts are a series of essays in audio form that to give you an example of what the book will all be about. As it stands right now, I'm looking at 25 to 30 chapters, about 250 pages, with accompanying art and photos. And anybody has anything to add or any suggestions for the book who lived in Gravel Hill or were part of a Gravel experience, Lauren, Birchie Settlement, Nash Creek, whatever, 272-1880, or on Facebook at JJ Carrier. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did reading it to you. Have a good day. Bye.